Hello and welcome to Code Your Own Tartan. I'm Daniel and I'm here in the Scottish borders. You're here for a very special live lesson celebrating Scottish connections worldwide. There's so many of you from all over the world joining us and it's great to see you.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a computer scientist and I love being creative with code. And today you're going to be creative technologists. You're going to use code to design your own tartan. Now, tartan is part of Scotland's history, but it's also part of modern Scotland. Millions of people wear tartan every day.
We've come to Selkirk and to Lochcarron of Scotland's mill, where they design and make tartan.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. Hi,
Hello.
welcome to Lochcarron. Come on in, I'll show you what we do.
We've got hundreds of people joining this lesson from around the world. We've got people taking part from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, India, Canada, and the United States of America. Yes, and many of you are joining us from a bit closer to home as well. So a big hello and welcome if you are coming from Ireland, Wales, England, or of course, Scotland. Daniel, are you ready to code your own tartan? Yeah, I'm so ready, Greg, and I hope you are too. Let's get started.
Hello from Scotland, and thank you for joining us from around the world. I'm Daniel, and I'm here with Craig.
Hi Daniel, hi everyone. I'm really looking forward to this afternoon.
Today, we are going to be talking about something that Scotland is really well known for.
Let me guess, castles, Daniel?
Lochs,
Bagpipes?
haggis,
Golf?
iron brew.
Penicillin?
These things are all Scottish, but they're out with what we are talking about today, which is tartan. Tartan is part of Scotland's identity, and it's worn by millions of people all around the world. It's got a really long history, but it's still used in modern Scotland. Craig, do you own anything with a tartan design?
I do. I have this really nice, really soft tartan scarf. And also, I have a kilt. I'm not wearing it, but I've got it here.
What tartan's your kilt, Craig?
This is Ramsey Blue Modern, is my tartan for my kilt. It's not my family or a clan that I belong to. I just really like the colours and the design of it.
Yeah, and there are loads and loads of different tartans out there, and a lot of the designs are linked to families or clans. But there's a lot of tartans that are modern, and they've been chosen because people like the colours, and maybe those patterns are appropriate to other groups. So, for example, my university had one, but I've even seen fictional characters like Shrek have their own tartans. Lots of green and brown in that one. It's very swampy.
But we're here today to code your own tartan. We're going to be using creative computing skills. But can you use computer code to design a tartan?
Well, tartans are made out of repeating patterns, and we call that a set. And computers are really good at following repeating patterns, so you should be able to. And in fact, Craig, hundreds of pupils have been on our website, cyberskillslive.com, and coded their own tartans. So, Craig, maybe you could give us a demo and show us how to get started.
Okay, let's see how to code your own tartan. Make sure you're on our website, cyberskillslive.com. Then you're going to find Code Your Own Tartan and hit play. It's going to ask you to put your name in and your school. Do that. And then you can jump straight to design your own tartan. Once you're here, this is where you tell us about your design decisions. You need to tell us who your tartan is for. Fill that in. You need to tell us a bit more about your group. Then you need to pick the 5 colours of the tartan that are significant to your group. So you choose the colour. I'm going to go for this blue. Then it will update the hex value for you here automatically, but you need to fill in what it represents. So you do that for all 5 colours. Lastly, you need to think about the position of the stripes, the warp and the weft. Tell us one way that you could use a pattern to tell your group's story. Fill that in here. Then you're going to hit Save Design Choices. Once you've done that, you can hit I'm ready to code my own tartan. And here is the code. You do not need to rewrite all this code, you just need to edit parts. So the first parts here are your colours. All you're going to do is edit the colour here to match the colours that you've chosen. So you can copy and paste it, or you can type it in here. Whenever you hit play, you will see a version of your tartan so far. So if I edit this code, I'm just going to copy paste that in. Then I hit play again. You can see the colours changed. If you want to undo it, you can hit undo, play again, you see the updated version, or stop. Really important part is the warp and the weft. Each row is a stripe of one of your colours. The bigger the number, the wider the stripe. So you can add, remove, or edit these rows here. And again, if you edit these rows and you hit play, your tartan will update. This is how you're going to design the positions of those stripes. Have a look through the rest of the code, see what else you can change, but once you're happy with your design, go down to the bottom, make sure these parts are filled in, telling us about your tartan, and then you're going to hit share your design to our gallery. Once you've done that, that's it sent to us.
Later on, we're going to be having a look at some of the tartans that you've been designing in our Scottish Connections gallery.
But first, you've been telling us about your experiences with tartan. We asked you to name an item or a piece of clothing that you've seen made with a tartan design.
And this is what you've told us. Craig, people might have been inspired by your kilt there. Kilt is by far the most popular piece of clothing that people have seen made out of tartan. But there's a good variety here.
Yeah, tartan shirts, tartan dresses, tartan blankets, tartan ties, rugs, shoes. There's a few ones in there, Daniel, that are maybe a little bit more obscure. Things like a tartan car. Yeah, I can believe that. A few other things as well. What am I seeing?
We can see things like blankets, cushions, carpets. So not necessarily pieces of clothing, but other textile products. Highland dress. Yes, you'd absolutely see tartan there.
But have you ever worn tartan? We asked you that as well.
Yes, and this is what you've told us. Yes, almost 70% of you have worn tartan before. Quarter of you haven't.
25% haven't.
And 6% of you have said, do you know what? I'd like to wear tartan. Maybe you'll be inspired after the lesson today.
Yeah, I suppose that gives us a few people to sort of convince to maybe try out tartan for the first time, Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. We also asked you where you're joining from and if tartan is popular where you are.
So we've had a few responses so far. So Mila from Mearns Primary School said, yes, tartan is popular here. Also, we've got Marwan from Stirling High School, and the tartan is popular in Stirling. Yeah, Scotland's a historic city, Stirling. I can imagine a lot of tartan you would see there, Daniel.
Yeah. Noah from Whitehill is saying that they love tartan. That's brilliant. That's so enthusiastic. And yes, tartan is seen in their school. We've got a couple of international people joining as well. One of those is Cindy, who's joining from the North Carolina Virtual Academy, saying that tartan is somewhat popular where you are. I'm glad to see that North Carolina has people supporting and wearing tartan.
Yeah, because what today's about is all about Scotland, but its connections around the world as well. So obviously tartan and the history of Scotland is strongly linked to Scotland, but we're also connected to so many groups around the world as well. So thank you to our international guests who have joined us today for this lesson. Now, I want you to meet someone who works in the tartan textile industry in Scotland. Stephanie is from Lochcarron of Scotland. Now, Lochcarron of Scotland are one of the world's leading manufacturers and designers of tartan, and you saw their mill at the start of this lesson. Let's welcome her. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you for joining us. You're in the mill today, is that right?
Yes, definitely. Can you tell from behind me? Yeah, I'm surrounded by tartan today.
It must be really nice going to work and be surrounded by all those sort of colours and textiles,
It,
designs.
it is. There's so much color, so much pattern all around. It's really great and inspiring as well.
So, Stephanie, you must really love tartan then. Tell us about it.
Yes, tartan is really great. I love how many options you have with tartan. It can represent so many things. We've done tartans from families to represent their history and heritage, businesses, castles, places. It just tells a really great story with how you choose to design it.
I think that's what's really interesting about today. It's the fact that we're designing it, but we're using it to tell our stories too.
Yes.
Now, we think of tartan as being quite a historic thing in Scotland, but is it still popular and relevant in Scotland today?
It definitely is. You see tartan all over the place in Scotland, mainly at weddings with kilts and sashes, but also formal events, ceilidhs, which we have here in Scotland, um, football games, rugby games. You can always see someone wearing a kilt somewhere.
Yeah, so a ceilidh is like a big gathering, a big party in Scotland as
It
well.
is, yes.
So I bet when you go to a ceilidh, you're trying to identify and spot all the tartans you can see.
Yes, I definitely do, especially working here. You think, oh, I know that one and that one.
So the tartan fabric that you design and you make at Lochcarron, what types of things is it used for?
It's used for lots of things. So obviously kilts. We also do the traditional trews,
Mhm.
um, ties, waistcoats, scarves, as you can see behind me, cushions as well behind me. I'm sitting on a tartan chair. You can use it for so many things.
Yeah, we were in the shop a few weeks ago, Craig, and you had everything in it. You could even get
Yes,
like tartan bandanas for dogs and things, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about designing tartans for animals
yes.
later on. So, Stephanie, what's your job at Lochcarron? What is it that you do?
So I'm a designer, so I work on creating tartans for so many different people. And usually we would design for their brief, for whatever they're using it for. Um, yeah, their color inspiration, um, all of those things until we get a design that they think really represents them.
Great.
And I imagine that as the designer, that you help them like shape their ideas, I suppose.
Yes, definitely. As I said, with the brief, people might have a connection to a tartan that already exists, maybe through their family, or they have special colours that mean a lot to them or represent different things. And that can all come together to create a lovely pattern that will symbolise their family.
We see loads of different tartans out there, and there are thousands of tartans to choose from. But what do you look for in a good tartan design? Are there certain things that, as a designer, you think that's a brilliant tartan?
Yeah, we always look for the balance, so making sure that your colours work well together, that there isn't sort of too much of one, not enough of another.
Mhm.
A light section versus a dark section can make it look a little off kilter. So I would say that's what we look for most.
We're
Balance
looking
and
for some,
variety of
yeah,
colors. Yeah. So when you're
Yes.
designing your tartans in your classrooms, have a think about that as well.
yeah. We've actually had a few questions come in. They're maybe looking for your input in the designs here, Stephanie, as well. So a pupil from Boroughmuir High School in Edinburgh says, how many different colours can you use when you're making a tartan?
Well, the minimum for a tartan is two to three colours. A lot of the traditional ones have quite minimal, but it can go up to about six colours. That tends to be a good number to create a
Okay.
nice multi-faceted design.
And a pupil from Skene School in Aberdeenshire saying, what are the most popular colours that are used to create tartans?
I would say probably a lot have blue and green in
Mhm.
there. It just think represents the land for a lot of people. A lot of people like to represent their landscape and their home country. and they also just, they look really nice as well.
Yeah.
They're very popular colours.
Daniel, you've had a couple of questions from our international groups as well.
Yeah, there's a question here that I quite like that's come from Chicago in the States, and it's from Lindblom Math and Science Academy. And they're asking, do the colours in tartans traditionally represent something like landscapes or family colours, or is there usually a meaning behind the colours that we see?
I would say yes, there usually is. As I said, if you're designing your tartan, you might have your favourite colour or a colour that's very, it represents your family, or a lot of people use, say, their coat of arms as colour inspiration, or maybe the flag of their country, or combining two different flags, families that have multinational people within it. And yeah, landscape as well, as I said, definitely.
That's fantastic. Well, hopefully that's given people an idea of how to get started coding their own tartan. If you've not had the chance to do it yet, you can go to our website, cyberskillslive.com, and choose Code Your Own Tartan.
Now, a few weeks ago, Craig and I visited the Lochcarron mill because I've always wanted my own tartan. So I sat down with Leslie, who's another designer, to get started.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
I would really love my own tartan for my cycling club. Are you able to help me?
We would love to help you. We work on tartans all the time for different customers that want to design their own tartan to mark an occasion or an event. So tell me a bit more about your project.
Yeah, so I'm part of a cycling group and we normally go around Scotland, but we are planning a big trip across Europe next year. And I thought it would be great if we had our own tartan that linked us together as a group, but also linked us back to Scotland where we come from.
It's a brilliant idea. And do you want to have a look at some colours and we can put a colour palette together for your new design?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So let's start with your colour palette. You could maybe have a green and a blue to represent the Scottish landscapes. So something like these two colours would work quite well.
Yeah, I can see the colour of my bike, which is a really bright orangey coral colour. So I'll give you that one too.
Nice, and then it could be good to add another bright colour just to balance out your coral.
Maybe something that represents like the sun in the sky, maybe like a yellow. Maybe this one here. That looks really nice and bright.
Fantastic. That's a good starting point for your tartan. So these are some of the tartans that we already weave. The tartan is made up of your vertical warp threads and your horizontal weft threads, and they're woven in a twill construction.
So is that why we've got these diagonal lines?
It is, yes. So I don't know if you want to have a look through and see if you prefer a simple tartan or something that's a little bit busier.
Yeah. Oh, there's loads of great choices in here. I think I want something that isn't too detailed, so that we can see it from far away. But I think something that's also quite interesting when we're up close. I actually really like this one. I like that we've got a big pattern, but also it's quite intricate. And this one's even got some colours a bit like mine.
Right, well that's our hame tartan, so that would be a great starting point for your inspiration.
So we'll be coming back later to see how those colours looked on my new tartan. It was really exciting.
Yeah, Daniel, you've made some good colour choices there, some bold choices. I want to
Thanks.
see them.
You will.
Daniel, I've been looking at our designers, and people have already been submitting in their designs to us. Thank you very much if you've been doing that. We're really looking forward to seeing them. But I think we should maybe give some shout outs, Daniel, to some schools that are taking part.
Why
We
not?
have a lot of good representation today from right around the world, but particularly the United States, Daniel.
Yeah. So big welcome
Yeah.
to pupils joining us from North Carolina Virtual Academy, Lindblom
We've got-
Math and Science Academy. We've also got Grace Christian School, who are also in North Carolina. And then Craig got one more in the Carolinas. We've got Spalding Middle School, but they're in South Carolina.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone from those groups, for joining us. You can give us a cheer in your class if we shout out your name. So we've now got the STEAM Academy from New Jersey. Thanks for joining us. We've got Hurst Junior High School taking part from Texas. Thank you for coming along. And we've got the Fairleigh Dixon University in New Jersey. Thank you for taking part.
We've also got some schools joining from Ireland. We've got Montgomery High School. We've got Maynooth Educate Together National School. And we've got Callasta Lochcarron, who are in Kildare.
We've also got probably some of the biggest distances away from the mill, Daniel, today. We've got South Otago High School in New Zealand, and we've got John Edmondson High School in Australia.
Yes.
Closer to home, we've got some live lesson stalwarts from the University of Edinburgh. Thank you for taking part. And of course, Skills Development Scotland. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. So I promised I'd show you what happens next with the tartan and the design process. So Leslie then helped me take my design choices, my colours, my design inspiration to create a digital version of the tartan. And then we got a look around the rest of the mill to find out how that idea is turned into a product that you could wear.
So this is where we design our tartans. It's done on the CAD system called Penelope. It used to be done by hand on hand looms, but now we can do it on the computer to give a good idea of how the tartan will look. So let's have a look at your colours and we can add it into the Hame tartan.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So here's your final tartan. What do you think?
I love it. I love the fact that even like the pink of my bike, it's the two strips, so we've got two wheels. I think this is great.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Leslie.
No problem. So here's your weaving ticket. So this shows your design with your pattern on it.
Thanks.
Now that I've got my weaving ticket, Leah showed us around the rest of the mill to show us what would happen next. The first stop was the dye house, where yarns are dyed into the particular colours that each tartan needs. The yarns are put into a dye pot and boiled until they're the right colour. Next, it was over to the warping station. This is where the yarns are carefully arranged to create the vertical threads of a tartan. These machines line up the threads onto huge warping drums, creating the pattern, ready for the horizontal threads to be added. Next up, the weaving station. Our warp threads are lifted or lowered by this machine, and the weft threads are pushed in from the sides. Next, it's off to the darners, where the fabric is inspected to make sure the pattern's correct and there's no faults, like breaks or knots. Tartan fabric is naturally oily. That makes it easier to work with, but they need washed out. After they've been washed, they're then cut into swatches of fabric ready to be turned into clothes, like scarves, ties, blankets, or kilts. And at the end of the day, everything's ready and up for sale in the shop.
It was really interesting to get to see all the different parts of the mill and see, Daniel, how your tartan would go through all those different stages.
I know there was so many different steps, but it was really fun seeing that they were all in the same building, so they moved from part to part around the space, and every time it got closer and closer to a piece of clothing, closer and closer to a finished product. But yeah, it was a very satisfying day, hearing all the machines, smelling all the oils, etc.
Well, welcome back, Stephanie. Thanks for coming back. And
No
you're
problem.
in our tartan gallery now. This is our Scottish Connections tartan gallery. Are you up for helping us give some feedback to some of the designs that we've seen come in so far?
Of course, definitely. I'm really excited to see some tartan designs.
So hundreds of designs have been sent in. Daniel, you've picked out a few just now, and Stephanie, it'd be great to get your initial thoughts, your feedback, your critiques of them as well. So immediately, this one's looking quite bold and strong. What is this, Daniel?
Yeah, so this is a tartan from Sophie, who is at Stirling High School. And Sophie has made a tartan for her school. And we've got 5 colours, 5 lines, and each one of the colours represents a house. and the colour that house is associated with. So we've got Douglas, Stuart, Randolph, Snowdon, and Eccles.
Fantastic. Stephanie, what's your initial response to that?
It's very nice. I do really like how colourful it is and the different contrasting colours. The pink next to the green works quite well. The yellow and the purple, it all creates a really bold design, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, I think the mixture of the colours there really stands out to me, and I haven't really seen a combination of colours like that on any tartans I've seen before.
No, it is. It's very unique.
And it's quite warm as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Where could you imagine this being used? Like, I guess they could use it for their school, but I can imagine that might look nice on like a backpack or something like that.
Yes, it would be, or like pencil cases or ties, maybe would be quite nice. A little pop of colour on your white shirt. That would be nice.
Lovely. Should we have a look at that? So thank you very much to, who was that, Sophie?
That was Sophie.
That's great. What a great start. Should we have a look at another one?
Yeah, so this one's from Kaylin, who is a Star Wars fan. Craig, maybe you could talk us through this one.
Ah, okay. So I can see the design notes from Kaylin's tartan here. And Kaylin wants a tartan that will unite all Star Wars fans. That's already a grand statement to make. I don't know if you can unite all Star Wars fans, but maybe a tartan is what could bring us together. And they say the colours of my tartan have special meanings. The red represents the silver. Yeah, the silver represents the Empire. The red represents the Sith. The sky blue is for the Jedi, and the white is for the Stormtroopers. And can you guess who the green represents? It's Yoda. So we've got all those characters there. Stephanie, what's your response?
Of course. I really like this one. I think it does sort of create that maybe balance throughout the galaxy, you could say.
Yeah.
I do like that the colours are also connected to like the lightsabers as well. You could make that connection. It's also an asymmetric tartan, which is really nice and unique. We do have some asymmetric tartans, but they're not as common as the symmetrical.
So is that less like traditional in its design then, if it's like that?
Well, there are some that are clan tartans that are asymmetrical, but the symmetric is more traditional and it makes it easier to create a kilt out of that design.
I feel like the stripes on this are quite thick. Is that common in some tartans? I've not really seen one quite like that.
There are some that have quite bold lines or are more sparse than others. I think maybe the most like iconic ones have a bit more going on, but some of the other ones that are more subdued, they are very classic and wearable and very nice.
Thank you, Kaylin, for submitting that tartan. That's brilliant.
A very bright one coming up next, which is from Hadia, who is at Mearns Primary School. And Hadia has designed her dream school uniform tartan. So I'll walk you through what she said. She said that the reddy pink colour is because it makes her feel calm. We've also got some bright reddy colours because they like to play in the sun in the playground. And the purple colour is her favourite colour, and she wanted to incorporate that in as well. Stephanie, what do you think of this one?
I do really like this one as well. I imagine it'd be a very colourful school if everyone was wearing these. It is a very nice bold colour. We do have some pink tartans, but they're definitely not as common as, say, the blues and the greens that are normally seen. And I like setting two colours that are like complement each other but are in the same story. So red and pink together creates really a harmonious design, and the little bit of contrast with the yellow is really nice.
The magenta is almost like a neon colour or something like that. Is it possible to like dye the fabrics so that they're that bright? Is there limitations?
There can be some limitations depending on the dye stuff and what fibre you're using. So we use mainly wool, so it is a bit harder to get those really, really vibrant colours. But we can get fairly vibrant, so we might have a colour quite similar to this in our dye house right now.
School uniform seems to be quite a theme of people creating tartans that represent their school and their group. I understand that at Lochcarron you design and make school uniforms for people not just in Scotland but in other countries as well.
Yes, we've done a lot of design projects for different schools. We've done some in America. We've done a lot with Japan. We work with a Japanese schoolwear company who creates bespoke tartans to make into school uniforms for hundreds of schools across Japan. And I think it's just amazing that it goes so far and they're using those every day. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to think of that, like all those schools around the world, but even their uniform has that connection back to that, to your desk and to your ideas back in Scotland as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's maybe look at one more tartan, and then we'll give you a reminder of how you can get started creating your own. So this next tartan is from Josie, who is at Drumlarrick. It's at Cuthbert's Primary School. And this is for the women's football club that Josie is a member of. And this one, there's some interesting things going on with the warp and the weft, the stripes in this one. So Josie said that she wants 11 thin lines representing the 11 players in the team on the pitch. And the colours represent the colour of the kit, but also the colour of the pitch that they play on and the football itself. So there's quite a lot going on in this one. Stephanie, is playing with the number of threads you have in the weave something that people like to do?
Yes, so not only having a colour connection, some people like to put a symbol in the actual pattern as well. We've had customers who want to put a certain amount of lines for how many family members there are. We've had one that did 3 black lines for their 3 black Labradors, things that really connect to their family and that they love. So it is a really great way to add another design element to the story.
This is great, and I love that, because you can imagine pointing at someone out that there's 11 lines here that represents each of our players as well, and I love that way of telling that story too.
Yeah, it really draws out the story behind it. It's not just the colours, but it's also the patterns as well. So if you've been inspired by any of these tartans that you've seen so far, then why not have a go at creating your own using our online tool. So here's Craig giving you a demo of how to get started.
Okay, let's see how to code your own tartan. Make sure you're on our website, cyberskillslive.com. Then you're going to find Code Your Own Tartan and hit play. It's going to ask you to put your name in and your school. Do that. And then you can jump straight to Design Your Own Tartan. Once you're here, this is where you tell us about your design decisions. You need to tell us who your tartan is for. Fill that in. You need to tell us a bit more about your group. Then you need to pick the 5 colours of the tartan that are significant to your group. So you choose the colour. I'm going to go for this blue. Then it will update the hex value for you here automatically, but you need to fill in what it represents. So you do that for all 5 colours. Lastly, you need to think about the position of the stripes, the warp and the weft. Tell us one way that you could use a pattern to tell your group's story. Fill that in here. Then you're going to hit Save Design Choices. Once you've done that, you can hit I'm ready to code my own tartan. And here is the code. You do not need to rewrite all this code, you just need to edit parts. So the first parts here are your colours. All you're going to do is edit the colour here to match the colours that you've chosen. So you can copy and paste it, or you can type it in here. Whenever you hit play, you will see a version of your tartan so far. So if I edit this code, I'm just going to copy paste that in. Then I hit play again. You can see the colours changed. If you want to undo it, you can hit undo, play again, you see the updated version, or stop. Really important part is the warp and the weft. Each row is a stripe of one of your colours. The bigger the number, the wider the stripe. So you can add, remove, or edit these rows here. And again, if you edit these rows and you hit play, your tartan will update. This is how you're going to design the positions of those stripes. Have a look through the rest of the code, see what else you can change, but once you're happy with your design, go down to the bottom, make sure these parts are filled in, telling us about your tartan, and then you're going to hit share your design to our gallery. Once you've done that, that's it sent to us. So there's still time for you to send in some of your tartans. I know from Daniel, you've been looking at some of the results coming in. We're getting tartans every minute
We
at
are.
the moment, and we'll
Lots of
hopefully get a
tartans.
chance to see some more shortly. Stephanie, I've got a few questions for you as well. So obviously Daniel and I are really interested in computers and technology as well. How do you use what tools and apps do you use as part of the design process?
Well, we have a CAD system that we use to design all of our tartans. It's called Penelope. It was developed in Spain, and it's designed specifically for making woven fabrics. So you can set up all of your technical settings for each fabric and add in all your yarn colors, and then you can type in all the numbers you want for your different sizes of lines to create your design.
So in our activity, we are using hex codes to represent different colours. How do you represent the colours in the Penelope system?
Well, they have we use RGB and also have our printer that does the CYMK as well. So we match the colours from the physical yarn to the screen and to the printout so that the customer will get an accurate representation of what the colour will look like. Because as you probably know, if you in different screens, the colour looks totally different.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that experience before. So I can imagine you want to make sure it's right before you go to,
Exactly.
you start dyeing all the wool.
Definitely, yeah.
And do you use any other design apps that are maybe not so specialist as Penelope?
Not so much. We do have some customers that will send us their own designs through different designs or drawings or whatever they have to try and get their ideas across to us. They will show us a visual representation or, like you say, have a hex code or a reference, a Pantone for us to match to from our dye house.
Yeah, because they're not going to have those sort of specialist design tools that you have. So they might be using, a Photoshop tool or whatever tool it is that they have available to them as well. That's great.
I've got another question here that I really like that I can't resist asking. So this is from Balakulish Primary, and they'd like to know, Stephanie, have you ever made a tartan design or an item for an animal?
We definitely have, which
you?
is quite interesting. Yes. So we do sell some bandanas for dogs and bow ties for dogs that can be made out of whatever tartan you want, so your own or some of the clan tartans. We have done a design for the Golden Retriever Club.
Oh, yeah.
And which is very interesting. It has that really nice golden colour of the dog and then a little bit of green and purple to represent Scotland, because it was traditionally a Scottish breed, which I didn't know until this project happened.
That's another good connection then to Scotland.
Yes, exactly.
And I think I might have seen one. I guess, are they a cat? Or are they a little girl? I guess
Yes, we have worked with the iconic Hello Kitty as well. She has created quite a few different iterations of her own tartan, which is just amazing to work on.
And Hello Kitty is very stylish as well. So I can imagine that
Definitely.
when you were working on those designs, you must have been thinking, we need to make sure we do it justice here.
Exactly. It needs to be something Hello Kitty would wear.
Fantastic. Daniel, we've got a couple of minutes left. I think I'd love to
Let's
see
look at
more
some
tartans. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this tartan here has just arrived hot off the press. It is from Cindy in North Carolina. And this is a representation of Cindy's backyard. So the green is representing, the grass and the turf. And the other colours are representing the flowers and the vegetables that are growing in our garden.
Wow, it is very nice. I can see that it represents a landscape, the grass and the green with the little hints of colours. It works really well to tell the story of her back garden.
And it almost looks like little fences that are going between the gardens or something like that. That's what I'm seeing when I'm looking at it too.
Yeah, I like little pops of lavender or something ultraviolet just dotted around in the grass. I guess grass also traditionally something else that we like to have stripes on. So maybe that naturally works with a tartan. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you very much, Cindy. What's going on here?
What's going on here? So, Craig, I can tell you what's going on here. This tartan is called Christmas. And the designer who submitted this one is called Noah. And he said, people would wear it at Christmas, but you could also wear it all year round, not just in December. Have you ever had to design something Christmassy or for a festival or occasion?
I don't think I have specifically for Christmas, but we do design tartans for events or anniversaries or historical things. Quite recently we did a collaboration with National Trust for Scotland, where they created Spirit of Culloden, which was to commemorate the 280th anniversary of the Battle of Culloden. And they created a really lovely wide range of products and a lovely gorgeous tartan. So yeah, definitely would do it for an event. I think a Christmas tartan is a great idea because tartan works really well with Christmas, I think.
Well, a lot of people wear tartan pajamas at Christmas, don't they?
Exactly.
And I can almost see in that design, maybe it's just my eyes, but I can see Christmas presents almost like wrapped at the four corners. That's what that kind of looks like to me.
Yes, I see that too. I could also see this as a wrapping paper. You wrap your presents in this as well.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I think, is it Noah who's submitted this one?
This one's from
another good design. Stephanie, if you've got any openings on your design team at some point, that could be... I think we've got quite a few candidates.
We do, exactly. I think it would be a tough choice out of all these people.
Let's have a look at one more tartan before we have to wrap things up with the Christmas tartan.
Oh, yeah.
This one is from Addison at Kings Park Primary, and this tartan is called Mitsuri Konroji, and that is Addison's favourite character in Demon Slayer, and this tartan is dedicated to that character. So these are the colours that character would be wearing in the Demon Slayer anime. It's very bright.
I really like this one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very nice. I like the contrast between the sort of bright and then the really light colours as well. And you've got that really bold black line to outline the box as well. It really stands out.
I can definitely see that.
Is using the black lines to outline the colours something that you would do as part of your job? Is that a traditional or a modern technique that's common?
We do see that quite a bit in tartans. We'd call it a guardrail. It just really highlights a certain colour. It can take it from maybe fading into the background to really standing out. So if you want something to be really obvious, adding a border to it will make it pop.
I think that has been the right choice on that tartan design as well. And I love that you can clearly see it's got the sort of anime colour palette that you would associate with it as well, and those connections too. And again, people who are fans of, you know, franchises or comic series, anime, manga, again, that's another group and another community, almost like a clan that you could be part of as well, like a modern version of that.
Yes, definitely.
These have
We
been
have
brilliant.
had lots and lots of tartans sent to us, and it's a real shame that we're not able to show all of them just now. But just to give a shout out to a few of you who have recently sent tartans: Abigail, Sophia, Elfata, Ashadia, Callum, Cara, Harris, Amber, Harir, Ross. All of your tartans will be in our Scottish Connections gallery on our website, along with hundreds of others that have been created by pupils around the world. So we'll make sure that your teachers get a link to check out the gallery when it's live, and people will be able to look at yours, and you can have a look at what other people have created.
Now we're coming to the end of today's session, but you've got the chance to get hands-on with creative coding tools. You've learned about tartan design, and you've created hundreds of new tartans that tell your own unique stories. But we do have one more task for you. We want you to jump back onto our Mentimeter, which is up here, menti.com, and then you put the code in, because we want to get your feedback. We want to find out what you enjoyed, what you liked, what you learned, bits that you wish were better, things that you wish there were more of as well. So if you give us that feedback, we really appreciate that as well.
Thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. It was great having you critique all of these brilliant new tartans, and it was great that you were able to answer so many questions that everyone watching had as well.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm definitely going to be scrolling through all the tartans tonight, I think.
But for now, we are at the end of our live lesson. So it is bye from Stephanie.
Bye.
It's bye from Craig.
Bye-bye.
And it's bye from me as well. See you next time.